to heal the wounds I keep inside. But in your eyes I see the truth, the kind of love that pulls me through.
It ain't a promise I made in vain. I bled for love, I've wept in shame. But this heart don't lie, it beats for you. So believe it, baby, it's true.
Believe it if I say I love you.
Even when the sky fades blue,
Through every storm I stumble through, I still found my way to you. I might fall, but I'll never move. Believe it if I say I love you.
your touch, it feel like holy ground. Your voice the sweetest healing sound. You call me falling, no disguise. You saw the pain behind my eyes. You took my past, turned it into art. You painted peace across my scars. And when the darkness starts to bloom, you shine brighter than the moon.
Every time I break, you pull me through. I find forever when I look at you. And if the world turns gray and cruel, I'll still believe that love's real true. Believe it if I say I love you.
Even when the tears shine through,
When my voice shakes, my heart still proves I'll always be here loving you.
through every dream that I pursue.
Believe it if I say I love you.
Yeah, I came from pain, I came from war. I built my heart from shattered floors. Love ain't easy, I know that too. But I found peace when I found you. You were the calm in all my rage, the fire burning through my cage. If this world ends, one thing stays true.
Believe it when I say I love you. Midnight whiskey and a broken song. You made me feel like I belong. Every wrong turn led me here to a love.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Y'all already know who this is. It is your girl, Mrs. Kiwi, along with my
Mink.
co-host.
Miss Mink is in the house.
How y'all doing on this evening? We apologize that y'all missed us on Friday, but that's all right. We're going to make up for it today. We definitely have a great show for you today. We have coming on the screen, he have been here before. He's an author, and he's also promoting. He will be doing a conference in Dallas on December the 6th. It's called, as a matter of fact, I'll let him introduce it and he'll tell you all a little bit about it as well. But right now, we kind of want y'all to know what Why Not Say It stands for.
Yes, so why not say it? And today's show is going to be a true example of why not say it. We're going to bring him on because he's going to run the show. But just as our mission statement, we want to make sure that we are building and bridging the gap between our youth and our season. We want that communication back, not only for the negative feelings we really want to keep the negative feelings out of it, but we want to keep it positive, but we want to open up those lines of communication. We have lost those lines of communication between our youth and our season. So we're trying to capture it back. And we're going to turn it over to our host for tonight. And as we stated, you all know him. He is an entrepreneur. He is, I mean, when I say life changing, he has written 3 books and he has promoted his books on here, but he is helping others grow through the pains, sufferings, life lessons, everything it is that he has been through, experiences, knowledge that he has gained. He is helping others grow. So we're getting ready to turn it over and introduce to you none other than M. Peasy. It's actually Michael Pow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, let me say it is a pleasure and an honor to be able to have this opportunity on this platform to be able to share just some thoughts tonight on some things that I feel like is very important. First, let me introduce myself. I am Michael Pow Jr. I'm a concrete contractor, author of Foundation of the Mind, How Concrete Saved My Soul, as well as Lose Your Mind, Find Your Soul, and the founder of True Souls of Grace. TSOG. True Souls of Grace is a nonprofit organization that we created for that's dealing with mental health as well as intertwined with concrete construction. So that, with that being said, that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about when trauma runs the job, how the mind starts seeing threats everywhere. Like I said, though, it's a pleasure to be able to co-host on Why Not Said. It's an amazing podcast and avenue to be able to express yourself and tell the truth on.
Amen. Yes. All right now.
So let's get it cracking, you guys.
Yes.
First thing I want to do is I definitely want to put a question out there, you know, and as well as kind of respond to it from my point of view of what trauma is. And I know that, you know, a lot of us say that we understand and we know that we're familiar with the definition, but the reason why I would like to walk back down that lane is because of 2 reasons. One of them is that we talk a lot about healing. We use that word real loosely now, and a lot of people are saying that they healed, they're healing, and this is what their journey looked like. When I kind of, you know, understand where they're coming from, but I would like to present some things that to you guys tonight that shows that trauma is an ongoing process, and it can happen in various ways. But I'm going to talk about 2 of those ways that we really need to become aware of, and that's the key word: being aware of our hurt and pain and how we project it, and how we also set the trajectory in our life and deal from that aspect. So let's get it going. So I would like to ask the question, what is trauma? And it's a real simple different definition. Trauma is emotional, psychological, and some physical wound that happens when the experience overwhelms our ability to cope and feel safe. Real simple. Okay. So I would like to expound on that a little bit. I would like to hear some of the co-hosts' opinion on, you know, the emotional side of trauma, and how, and when you talk about the emotional side, we talk about the hurt and pain, right? That we carry, and how you guys see that.
And well, I'll start with just like what you stated, the emotional, you know, temperature of what it is that you experience. You know, when we experience very stressful, frightening, distressing events, then it's difficult to cope through those events. And sometimes it causes us to become very out of control. Even though it is that we may feel that we have control, we really don't. We really don't. We don't have control, because sometimes
That's a good point.
I was just gonna say sometimes when it
No, I'm sorry. No, I just said that. I was thinking out loud. I'm sorry for
oh,
interrupting.
that's okay.
That's a good point.
You know, sometimes we
Yeah.
suppress it. And that's when it is that we think that we have control. But at any moment, it starts to surface. It'll surface. So, you know, we right back out of control again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So how do you feel about that, Miss Kiwi?
And I'll piggyback off on that, and you know, say that, you know, a lot of people don't even acknowledge trauma at all.
Yep.
You know,
Mm.
a lot of people
Mm.
don't even acknowledge trauma. They just feel like, oh, I went through something and I'm hurting and I'm gonna go on with my life. But what people don't understand is that trauma carries on throughout your life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the trauma we experience is what makes the decisions that we project
It causes
in a lot, you know, in a lot of our situations that we go through life after that trauma, because we have not acknowledged that we are have been traumatized. So we don't, you know, we don't seek help for it. You know, we just go on with our life. So it becomes part of our life, and then we're wondering why, when we go through different things, why is it so dramatic and so hurtful, and you know, where did this come from and why is it happening to me? Instead of, when trauma happens, we actually need to address it. We need to find out what's the root, what caused it, what happened, you know, what is it that we need to do. Because just for me myself, I am one of those, you know, people that, you know, never really addressed the trauma that was in my life. So it caused other trauma to build on top of the trauma that I already had. And now I was stuck in a place where, you know, like, what happened? What am I doing? Why I'm going through this? And it's really deep rooted. So, you know, we have to start addressing trauma.
Okay, it's too. You guys had some. That was some very good points you guys made, and I'm going to expound on that. But before I expound on that, I'm going to go into it a little further about what trauma is. And we know most definitely it's not just an event. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Because like we were speaking about our emotional feelings and our, as well as our thought process, you know, and how we condition our mind and ourselves to try to ignore it, to feel better. And these are some of the ways, these are some of the red flags, the things that we miss that end up being a part of that conditioning in our mind and in our emotion that continue to feed that beast, that trauma, and keep it going. So I'm gonna say this. So you know, it's sometimes, you know, like in an event, which is normal. You feel helpless, you feel unsupported. Um, we've also, you know, the important thing that we got to also consider is like, how, what does this mean? Like when we feeling helpless, what do this really look like for us? And you know, in the event, you know what I'm saying, things take place, you know, that become sources to continue to feed and trigger us in this trauma, you know, like abuse, physical, emotional, sexually, neglect, no love, no safety, no emotional support, violence, accidents, disasters, racism, poverty, incarceration, community violence, betrayal and abandonment, sudden losses. Those are things like that hits the top of the chart of trauma, that, you know, that's normally, that's across the board, everybody experiences. But the key to that is the effect of it in our body and in our mind. We get in this space where all right, so I'm gonna go into 5 ways, but I'm gonna say this: we have this hyper alertness and this obsession we do, right? And what take place with this obsession and this hyper alertness is that we start doing things habitual, to ignore what is really taking place with us. And that's outside of us. Like some people, like one of the most common things that we have adjusted to is like everybody got a phone, right?
Yep.
So everybody, guess what they do? If it ain't Facebook, if it ain't Instagram, they scrolling all day.
All day.
All day.
Yep.
And those actually come in those times when, what I'm saying, we have something on our mind, we feeling anxiety, or we feeling overwhelmed or something like that. And we don't want to feel like that. So we try to ignore it and get into that scrolling, get into that, something else, or trying to pay attention to someone else. So these are the things that I want to address, like that hypervigilant, what I'm saying, like being aware of that and what that really looks like. So I'm going to read off some things about that hypervigilance. It's and I'm relating it to like on the job, but of course we talking about the job is the parable of real life. So those that can't, relate to it or want to feel it in person, they can relate to some of their actions or some of their thought process throughout the course of the day. It says always on site patrol. Your body stays tense, like you're waiting for something to pop off.
Yep.
You walk into rooms, relationships, or opportunity already braced for disrespect or betrayal. Everything's feel like a red flag, false code book. A text takes too long. They don't really care. Someone hesitates or reschedule. Here we go again.
Yep.
Old pain writes new meaning, even when the facts don't match. Only remembering they're wrong. And that's one of the key things. We love to blame. That's somebody else's fault, not yours. So right there, you're in the process of editing your memory and subtracting and adding and already placing an excuse there to be able to say, hey, it ain't on me, it's on you. And that and what I'm doing is and what I like, these are excerpts from my books that I took and I wrote from the research that I did. But reason why I want to go back over and read this, because this is very important, that in order for you to really get on a healing journey, and this applies to me, I'm talking to myself mainly, I had to realize that I had to become aware. I had to become aware of what it is that I'm looking for, what this trauma looks like. Because one of the key things is that it's like a story, right? It's like a movie. Something happens to you and it really affects you. We don't realize that the main thing that we gravitate to is not so much of the details of the incident, but how we felt in the incident. So that's two different things when we go to think about it. Because if you think about it, when you tell the story seems to change several different times, different ways of what really happened.
Yes.
But what doesn't change is how you felt. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what makes the difference, and that's what makes trauma so cunning and baffling. Because we lose the reality, because as we continue to feel this hurt and pain, we substitute it. We put something on top of it. And that distorts what really happened. So therefore, in the healing process, we have to become aware of what it is we feeling, why we feeling the way we feeling, and what it got to do with you. Not somebody else or what they did. And that's not to excuse what somebody else does. You know what I'm saying? But that's their stuff.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You can't help them heal or correct what they need to heal until you're able to see what you need to heal.
Exactly.
So that's important. So, to go on further, it's like breaking good things before they break you. Self-sabotage.
Yeah. And you know what?
Addiction.
Can I say something real quick?
No, step in whenever you guys are ready. Jump in. Yeah,
when you just said that was something that just kind of hit, and I was going to ask about self-sabotaging for the simple fact and reason being, we can cause extra trauma to ourselves with self self-sabotaging. Because even though it is that you start to question yourself, you know, in reference to, okay, what part did you play in it? Or how much did you play in, you know, as a part of this, or whatever the case may be, you start to really end up blaming yourself. And I found that to happen, you know, as far as to, you want to take accountability of what role it is that you may have played, but when it is that you try to be, like you had stated earlier, too accountable for not only yourself but that other person, then you start self-sabotaging yourself as well. And that causes a lot. I mean, you can cause your own destruction and trauma too.
Yes. The key thing to that, the key thing to the self-sabotaging is that we have lost the ability to differentiate a good thing opposed to a bad thing, or a positive person opposed to a negative person, because we have conditioned our mind. See, that conditioning from the time that you have stepped into an event that caused you the trauma, that caused you to hurt. If you don't take the proper steps at this point, I gotta inject. You know, this is a very serious conversation. Out of trauma, out of pain, and out of hurt, we have lost a lot of people to suicide. Yep. We have also lost a lot of people to to killing one another, because they don't know how to deal with the cycle, the vicious cycle that's inside them, that hurt and pain, and always looking for a temporary fix, and that temporary fix don't last long enough, and then that trauma, that hurt and pain surfaces again. You know, so I definitely want to shout that out. And at any given time, if a person, you know, needs that therapy or needs to talk to a doctor, I advise you, please, most definitely get some help. It ain't no complex about this thing right here. It ain't being afraid to help yourself, or if you feeling, you know what I'm saying, like you out of control and you need somebody to talk to. I'm not a doctor, but I do life coaching, and I do talk to people, you know what I'm saying, and share my experience, strength, and hope. So I definitely want to interject that.
And you know what else too? You know, we as the people have to also stop feeling embarrassed or ashamed to go and talk to someone. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can handle this on my own. I don't need nobody else, or they just want to be in my business, or, you know, stuff like that. But we have to get out that mindset, because if you could help yourself, you would not have probably put yourself in that situation. So it's okay to go and talk to someone and express yourself about the trauma you have experienced, or, you know, the pain that you're going through, or, you know, because a lot of times, like I said, we don't even acknowledge the fact that we have been traumatized.
Right.
So
and right there, I definitely want to chime in, because that's one of the most important things to me that makes me such an advocate for this. You know what I'm saying? And using myself for example, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us, you know what I'm saying, first of all, can't own the fact that we deal with trauma. You know why? The reason why you can't own the fact that you deal with trauma is because there was a conditioning that took place when you want to not feel that pain. There was in this conditioning, you begin to do things habitually. That means thinking a certain way. And as you replace certain things, you distorted the fact of what you was really feeling and what you was really thinking with the substitute. And now that became your reality, because you leaned on that habitually in that conditioning and began to say, hey, this is my truth. And taking it on as a belief system. So therefore, that's the trick in it. One of these things that I always say that was told to me the greatest trick that the devil pulled on the world was getting you to think that it don't exist.
Amen.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's so
Amen.
true.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
That is true. And you know,
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do with all these materialistic things, all this beautifying, all this player, all this, you know what I'm saying, that you got the game and going with it, but then you find yourself getting up at 12 a.m. in the afternoon and drinking a whole bottle of tequila.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You find yourself, you know what I'm saying, laying and sleeping with both Joe, this dude, and that dude, you know what I'm saying, because you trying to put it up under you trying to pay a bill. Is that not an issue or what?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or you got kids, so you got to do that. You a sacrifice showing them what's right to have niggas running in and out your crib.
Yeah. And seeing a lot of times we not necessarily put ourselves in a lot of those situations, and that's the reason why it is that it's very important that you seek help when it is that you start feeling a certain kind of way, because you don't know how to get yourself out of the situation, or either you don't know how to handle what it is that you are feeling, because it's new to you, it's foreign to you. And that's a lot of, time how different traumas do occur is when there is a foreign activity that you're not used to that causes you to be distraught, frightened, distressed, anything of that nature. So yeah, it's like a fight or flight situation.
It's called a defense as identity crisis.
Okay.
And what that is a problem with your own personality. This how this goes, right? That's just how I am. That's just who I am. I don't trust nobody. I stay on the go. The survival version of you, anger, numbness, overwork, becomes your identity. Same way with every other process. I think it was one of you guys said that the more you stand into this self-sabotage, and you know what I'm saying, you find yourself continue repeating that vicious cycle of constantly hurting yourself. And that's what take place, but you don't realize how you hurting yourself anymore, because now that became your truth. I don't trust nobody.
Exactly, and you don't.
You know what I'm saying? I'm angry all the time. I don't want to hear what nobody got to say, because I think they trying to be slick. This is what trauma does to you. This is the effect that it has on you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to become in tune. You have to become aware of what we're talking about.
Exactly. So
then you begin your healing process. I mean, well, your healing process already began when you become aware, but you start that journey on your healing when you start being able to pinpoint certain things, and then that's when you start checking yourself.
Yeah, you start being accountable for what part in that you played.
So how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point of recognizing? Because a lot of people will say, well, you just, you just start recognizing, or you pay attention to, but what if it is that you can't see it? A lot of times people on the outside may see certain things that you can't see. And sometimes it's not that you don't want to see it. It's just that you literally can't see it or recognize it. So how do you get to that point? If it is that you are one of those persons that can't recognize it, can't see it, and it's not that you're not trying to.
Well, one of the things for me that begin to recognize it was I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that didn't have nothing to do with just using no drugs. That had a lot to do with how I was feeling.
We can hear you.
Go ahead, we're listening.
Yeah, and it had a lot to do with how I was feeling. So first, you know what I'm saying, we got to understand that trauma trains our mind and our body to always stay on alert and on patrol of the defense. So if you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything outside the defense to relate to, then you don't have anything Like, say, for instance, what you so mad for? In a situation that don't even cause for you to be mad. If you're not aware that you are out of character in that moment, you can't even begin to recognize why or find out why. Damn, why I just get so mad? You understand what I'm saying? Or why I just talk to that person so bad and I ain't even have to say, that person didn't even say nothing negative to me. So we got to begin to see that training, that conditioning. And you feel it. You just don't want to own it. In your own little small little still voice, when you off to yourself or when you in situations. You know, one of the things I was talking to somebody about, and I'm gonna use this for example. When I'm driving, I hate when people pull up on the back of me, man. Just be even at a stop sign, be so close to me. And you see my reaction to that when I'm even talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I hate that, you know what I mean? And I'm using strong words, but my point in doing that is that, you know what I mean? Like, what about that I hate? Well, you know what? I come to realize that I got a fear of somebody running in the back of me and hitting me.
Yes.
But that fear right there would take me to, I would jump out that car and curse that so-and-so out behind me. You know what I'm saying? And blame them for me feeling like that.
Right.
And we ain't even had an accident. That's a little bit of road rage for you. You know what I'm saying?
But I'll
So
say
that's
this though. I'll say this though, because I have actually experienced that 3 times. Someone hitting me from the back. You know, once I was sitting at a stoplight. Once I was pulling up to a stop sign. So that's how I developed that part of road rage, because I have experienced that. And I just feel like, first off, you have to think in your mind, anything could go wrong with your car. Your brakes could go wrong. You know, just anything could go wrong. So to pull up close on a person
can
like that.
Can I challenge you? Can I challenge you at this moment since we're having this conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
So as you saying that, what that got to do with the car behind?
What does what have to do with the car behind?
All the stuff you just said.
The car behind hit me from the back. That's what it has to
No,
do.
yeah, how you said that has happened to you before,
Yeah,
that created you to start being on the defense.
Well,
Am I
I
correct?
mean, I'm actually dealing with that now. I'm not quite like at the same point I was when it happened, but yeah.
No, hear me. Walk with me, because I asked, can I challenge you? Meaning that, can I use that as an example?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not challenging you in the sense there's something wrong with it, but I do hope that you get something out of this when we get to the end of the walk.
Okay.
The thing is that what I asked, what do that have to do with the person behind you? You don't have no control over how that person drives.
Nope.
So the thing that your issue is, it didn't happen to you before. That's what trauma looks like. You see what I'm saying? We talk about how we start to begin to recognize it. This person is, you don't have no control over that. And so that means that at some point or another, then you need to start working on getting over the fact, and I'm not saying that in a cruel manner, but getting over what that trauma has caused for you and what it looks like for you. Same way with me. I feel the same way. We share that same experience. I say to myself, I get mad and I be ready to jump out the car. I could jump out to my death, or I can end up causing a situation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Just because in my mind, as I'm walking through this, the conditioning that I'm so used to in my mind and the reactions that I have, I'm ready to jump out and take that chance. But the reality is, the car ain't hit me yet. You know what I'm saying? I can't control how they drive.
Right.
So while I'm dealing with all these fears in my head, that's what I'm going through in my mind. And it don't have nothing to do with that person. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it looks like. That's what we have to start walking through in our mind at any given time, not just when we feel like it. because that's what the healing journey looks like. We got to be able to do that work at any given time.
Exactly.
And it's okay. It's not, we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to everybody. I'm including myself. We're not perfect. We're gonna stumble, we're gonna blunder, we're gonna fall, we're gonna get back up in that process. But you know, the beauty of it is when you begin to recognize, when you begin to see that thought process for what it is, and really see your role in that. Yeah. So as I was saying, you know, trauma trains your body to always be on patrol. You walk into a room, into your own house, even into a blessing, or and your nervous systems is already like, what's the catch? Who's about to switch up? That's not intuition. That's hypervigilance. That's hypervigilance. You stand on point. Those terms. That was the topic I was going to get to, how the street affects a lot of street guys, our street raised. You know what I'm saying? And we have to condition our mind to survive. But at what point do we want to stand in a place where we thriving, where we living in life, walking through these things in our mind, lessening a lot of situations and hurting pain on other people, including ourselves?
Because a lot of times too, I have done it, and I'm sure other people have done it too. You know,
You're not by yourself.
we will create a whole scenario in our
before
head
it ain't even happened.
before it happens,
Or if it even happens.
or if it even happens,
It happened. Yep.
or we speak something out of our mouth before it even come to fruition.
For the fact, the reason we'd have been through, something that have traumatized us on that particular level that causes us to always be on alert. Like you stated, what is it? Patrol, body patrol, or mind patrol, or what was it that you stated?
Yeah. That's hypervigilance. That's dealing with the personality. Yeah,
hypervigilance.
Yeah.
You always on that edge. You on an edge at all times when it is that you've been through certain things and you haven't actually dealt with it to release it or get over it. Start the process of healing, as we use that word so freely. We never truly, in my mind, get healed if it is that you don't talk it out to release it. Because
the reality is that you got to think about it. Rome wasn't built overnight.
Right, exactly. And we
you know what I'm saying?
Things.
So we didn't do this overnight, and then we can wake up tomorrow and say, boom, I got the answer, something to change. Right. It's all different. Yes. That's not how that's not how it works. That's not how it happened. Yep. And the thing that we really got to consider about this is that you spoke about this earlier. We self-inflicting pain on ourselves because we continue to think in this manner, act in this manner, and hurt others in this manner, creating trauma on them. You know what I'm saying? So then, as we interact with each other, we both toxic. We both toxic, and we don't know what we're looking at. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna step into this next part, and it says trauma writes this is good too. It says trauma writes a little code book in your head. A certain tone of voice, a delayed text, somebody closing the door. Your mind doesn't see it as neutral. It sees it as danger, disrespect, or rejection. You don't check facts, you just react.
That's good. That's good, because that's true.
Yeah.
That is very
true. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's heavy, because that's exactly what we do.
Yes.
We end up in that space. And then, especially when you got two people that is not on that journey or on that path and not in tune with it, and we find ourselves clashing, and then we want to come back around after we realize none of this makes sense.
Right.
And want to apologize. So that's why these things like this is very important, and they play a part on our job. And our job is our everyday life, day to day, in everything that we do.
That's where that saying "hurt people hurt people." You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hurt people
Yeah.
do hurt people.
You know?
Yes, yes, yes.
But check this out. Here's an interesting too. Here's one that's real. Well, I'm gonna read two of them, but the one that I'm talking that's real interesting is the one that it says trauma start predicting pain in advance.
That's a
A
good
good
one.
opportunity shows up, and instead of saying thank you, you start breaking it before it can break you. You push people away, blow up bridges, or fall back into old habits just to feel in control of the crash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people saying that, hey, you know, they didn't heal. They didn't got past this stuff. But
But I
then
don't think a lot of people know what
that
healing
cycle
looks
is
like.
steady being promoted. It's steady being propagated. And the crazy thing about it is we getting to that age, or we getting older, where we still don't realize that we're not functioning on a normal level.
Exactly.
Because you know why?
Insanity.
We have the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? That's just me.
And a lot of
So we
times
make that excuse.
and a lot of times we functioning off of insanity for real, because when
Yeah.
you think about
And
it,
we wonder why that's happening as well.
exactly. When you think about it,
Psycho.
insanity is something that you constantly doing the same of,
And
and you
getting
getting
the
the same
same
results.
results.
The same
But you
results.
really
But
expecting
you
a different
expecting
result.
something different.
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying?
right. But you're doing the same, yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a process, and it's a thing where, you know what I'm saying, like we definitely have to become aware of how this conditioning is, and how, you know, it plays a part in our mind and in our health and in our everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And when I mean by everyday life, you know what I'm saying, one of the biggest things in our everyday life is relationships.
Yep. And
So that means that we have a partner in crime in this.
yes.
Yes.
And we have a lot of different relationships. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
talking
saying.
about
Either way,
jobship, relationship,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, citizenship, all kind. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different ships as that
Yeah,
holds the title with the
sure.
relationship.
That's
you know,
right, exactly.
and
Right.
when you think about that, that's a lot of different situations that you trying to pile on and deal with. And like you said, you find yourself repeatedly doing the same things with all of these different ships, whether you on your job, whether you in a relationship, whether you know what I'm saying, whatever. You find yourself doing the same thing, but you expecting different results, so you getting frustrated because ain't nothing changing. You ain't you know what I'm saying? But you got to start thinking like all of these things that we are doing to ourselves could start with that trauma. We don't even know what that trauma is. We don't know what it looks like, but we know that we going through some things.
Right.
So that's why you have to step back and start reevaluating your life of where did this start?
Right.
In order to even try to figure out where is it going.
Right.
You got to
Or how
understand
you address it.
or how do you address it? You got to start. You got to understand where did it start? Meaning that you have to acknowledge that you have experienced trauma.
Yep.
Yeah, that part there is a real. I think that's the most daunting and realistic and hard part, is to go back and really understand where the conditioning began and why it began. What made you start to, you know, downplay or ignore certain things? And a lot of people, for the surface, you know, it's easy for us to say, hey, well, because I was treated this way, or this person done this to me, or this and that, which is fair, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of that happened in our childhood. Or even, you know, we can't exclude the fact that, you know, you got first responders, man, that's pulling up on places with a guy head halfway blown out.
Yeah.
We got people that had to sit and watch, a friend walk down the street and get killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at some point or another, just to think about one day you here and the next minute you gone, and there's somebody that you slept and chill with and ate with on a regular basis, you basically be bonded with, is not here no more because of something that you've seen. It's like, how do you begin to not feel that pain?
So let me ask you this: your book. What was the title of your book?
Well, Foundation of the Mind: How Concrete Saved My Soul is the second book. The first book was Lose Your Mind, Find Your Soul.
Okay, so with those books that you wrote, how do what we're talking about right now? How did you come up to write those books? I mean, I understand that you experienced trauma, but like how does that tie in? Because
I kind of get, what I thought about, what come to mind when you ask that question is, let me say this. Like I said earlier, for starters, I was confused and I got sick and tired of it was a conflict within me. It was a real conflict in me, like, what I'm saying? I'm not winning. Like, this don't feel good. I'm not winning like this. I don't feel like, I don't feel normal. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when I felt like that, like I said, the normal thing that I do was I go get high, or I just go get into some trouble, just get my mind off of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to think about how I feel. And that's what a lot of people do. They substitute. They try to, what I'm saying, sugarcoat it in their own self, tell themselves lies. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't what you really feeling. This is why some people can't recognize it. But what led me to writing about it was things that I heard, like a few therapy sessions, and that didn't turn out good because I felt like couldn't nobody tell me nothing. Or they was another part of the trauma was they was trying to be slick. They was trying to manipulate my mind. They was trying to, what I'm saying, make me think like they think, what I mean? And so, and then I find myself right back in that space, feeling uncomfortable, not knowing how to communicate or socialize. And then the biggest thing was, and I hope I don't sound like I'm making an excuse, but spending 15 years in prison and being in the jungle, and I call it the jungle because you in there with them lion, tigers, and bears. You know what I'm saying? For real, like loosely. And so, it's like you had to condition yourself, and that's a prime thing. You have to condition yourself to think like that. And when I came home, you know what I'm saying, my mind wasn't on that I'm in a whole different world, or I'm in a different state, because in our reality, being free was just like it was that made me go in there to me, because I didn't have that treatment. I didn't have that someone to be able to educate me on what I was feeling and what I was going through and what that trauma that hurt and pain looked like, and how it's manifesting in my life, how I'm starting to think through that. Everything that I do, everything that I see, you know what I'm saying? Like I just read off to you guys, it's a defense. It's like it's part of my personality, what they up to, what they trying to get off. You know what I'm saying? Where they coming from? And for a while I couldn't get to that stage to where I was just like, man, I need to face this. But after so many, conversations, rehabs, talking to counselors, and my mind just started like, I need to get this out.
So you found a way of because I know that sometimes when it is that people can't really communicate what it is that they're feeling, then they find other means when they've really thought about it and they want to try to change. Then they find other means. Like there's expression of art. And art is so many different forms. You know,
Right.
spoken
Right.
words, poetry, what is it? Rap, you know, singing, writing, you know, those are all forms of art, you know, playing instruments that you can use to express yourself. And actually, it has meaning because you're literally getting things off of how it is that you're feeling. So I mean, me myself personally,
Yeah.
I do challenge people to, you know, find what they call their niche, what it is that, you know you can do to help you formulate how it is that you can kind of express yourself. And that's what I feel that, and I may be wrong, but that's what I feel that you did with writing your books. You know, you got 3 books that you've written. So with writing those books, and all of those books basically have expressed what you've gone through, how you're feeling, how it is that you are healing, and so on and so forth.
So,
Yeah,
um,
so which
but
that brings me to the other side of that, because
but
that still wasn't enough.
time. We got
That was yeah. That still wasn't enough. So definitely we're gonna touch base on that. We're gonna step away for a little bit,
but
take a moment.
but
But
what
in
I
the
want you to
meantime,
do, but I want you to tell, I want you to speak on this conference. I want you to kind of give the people a little, you know, snippet of this conference that you're gonna do. You know, because look, that's a
you know,
blessing, especially when you have a bunch of men that's coming together. So,
well, most definitely I gotta give a shout out to Devin, Devin Smith. So that's she's heading she's one of the head facilitators, or well, she's actually over the whole project, and Erica Smith, um, who put this conference together for men, because they came up with this thing like, hey, you know, us as women, we constantly, you know, working on ourselves and trying to, you know, promote this and stuff like that. Why not, you know, just let us just be able to get a space for you guys, and you guys show up in that space and do what you got to do, which I thought that was amazing. So I definitely want to shout out Devin and Erica Smith, you know, for definitely creating this vibe for us, this whole energy. Men Healing is a conference where, like, you know, we said, you know, all men are welcome. You know what I'm saying? But of course, you know, we're definitely putting in the work with black people, as far as brown people, you know, white people, white men, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like any sort of man, if you feel like, you know what I'm saying, you deal with hurt and pain and situations, you losing control over them and you can't deal with them, I think this is the place to be. It's December the 6th. You know what I'm saying? Definitely December 6th, its doors open up at 10:30 in the morning, and we go into 5, 6 o'clock, off and on, spending time really, talking about this issue that we have, not just as men, but as people collectively. But we're
okay.
starting with ourselves as men, you know what I'm saying? So definitely I invite everybody out. You'll be able to see that on the screen. You'll also see the QR code on the screen soon during this intermission, as well as with TSOC, which is True Souls of Grace, which is definitely an organization that I recommend that you support and donate to, because in this organization, it's not just dealing with the mental health, which is the very most important side of it, but it's also building careers for young guys, giving them trades, you know what I'm saying, in the concrete construction side of it.
All
So
right.
definitely come out, you know what I'm saying, and support that, and make sure that, you do what you can. It don't take a lot, but understand that, we're trying to get facilities, you know what I'm saying, to do concrete training, real skills, real work, real pay, you know what I'm saying, mindset and healing tools, language and frameworks men can actually use, and brotherhood, accountability, you know what I'm saying, definitely. That's what it's about. So check us out.
All right, now, well, we definitely appreciate you. We want to thank you, and we definitely will be having another part 2 to this so that we can continue
Oh yeah,
help on the
anytime.
movement.
I definitely.
This is a movement, so I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you, and we definitely will be getting you back again. So,
And even though it is
Yeah.
that it's in Dallas, you can still tune in, right, to watch it
Yes,
because it
and
will
so
be shown
it's
live.
actually gonna
you
air.
gotta
It's gonna air
be
on several
quick.
platforms. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be satellite. You know, it's gonna be down there at the Dallas Stadium anyway. So you
Okay.
know what I'm saying, it's gonna be pretty big. So definitely, whatever you do, try to figure it out, find out. And if you can sponsor a guy, if you can sponsor, man, hit me up, you know what I'm saying, on that T-SOC code, or hit me up at 945-346-4712. And I make it happen for, whoever you want to sponsor or whoever you want to support. If you want to donate or whatever, just hit me up.
All
Thank you,
right
guys.
then. Well,
I
thank you
appreciate
again.
that.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you, babe.
We appreciate you.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you too. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Hey.
Did you? What is QR code? Can you pull it up there?
Let's see.
He said let him